Okay, so I think we'll get started now. Just want to introduce Adrian Gira, who's going to be your instructor today. The course today, or the seminar, will be Remote Desktop Services and Virtual Desktop Infrastructure in Windows Server 2008 R2. So a mouthful, and we'll have Adrian tell you about that. Again, just about joining the audio conference, there's no option for telephone. So you need to go through the voice over IP and the audio, which, if you can hear me now, you're using. For providing feedback, as I said, in the participant area, there's a raised hand or there's a button for feedback. So yes, no, too fast, too slow, applause, laughter. If you guys can use that throughout the session, that would be great. For Q&A, there is a chat section. Basically what we're going to do is collect any questions that you have. If they're available quickly, we can get them to Adrian to try and answer. But if not, we'll try and do a Q&A at the end of the session. And you can keep sending questions as well, and we can answer and follow up some things after the fact. Everybody's pretty familiar with the chat section. Just a little bit about CTC Train Canada. We're a privately owned Canadian organization. We're almost 23 years old. We're a Microsoft Gold Learning Partner in Canada. We're national, so we have facilities in all the major cities across Canada, 11 locations. We deliver training in French and English. Halifax, Quebec City, so pretty much any place in Canada. One of our big differentiators for Microsoft training is that we set the standard for guaranteed to run. So we'll run a Microsoft certified course with a minimum of 3 students, which is a real industry leader, and that's we set the standard in the industry that way. Some of our key partners, obviously Microsoft. We're a Microsoft partner. Gold Learning. We were the Microsoft Partner of the Year for last year for the Impact Awards. We're also partnered with ESI for business skills, Mile2 for IT security, Prometrics for testing, so you can get tested for Microsoft exams through our Prometrics centers. And we also have some exam certificates available for people that are taking courses this summer, mock courses, as a promotion. Head Technologies we deal with for ITIL, and then IBM is one of our big partners as well. Okay, so we want to get started with the presentation. I'm going to pass this over to Adrian, and you can take it from here, Adrian.
Okay, thank you, Rick. If you can pass me also the session. Okay, perfect. So, just a second. Okay, so welcome everybody to this webinar. So my name is Adrian Gira. I'm going to be the presenter for today. I'm a Microsoft Certified Trainer here at CTC Train, and I'm also a Microsoft Certified IT Professional. I'm working in this field probably more than 10 years now, so I have quite an experience. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to present you how to configure remote desktop services and remote app using the latest version of Microsoft, which is the Windows Server 2008 R2. So what we are going to do today, we are going to quickly go over an overview what the RDS is. Then I will show you how a remote app can be published and using the RDS, and then how it can be accessed. So first of all, let's go a little bit over the overview what an RDS is. Basically, the RDS, it's also it's formally known as Terminal Service. Probably most of you are familiar with that, which provides technology that enables you to access session-based desktops, virtual machine-based desktops, and remote applications that are running on centralized servers. You can establish secure connections from a local network or from the internet. RDS provides a rich desktop and application experience, and you can connect securely from managed or unmanaged services. Some of the benefits you can have with RDS, you can run an application or a full desktop in one location, and you can control the application or desktop from another remote location. You can also maintain the installation and management on centralized servers in your data center. An RDS server delivers screen images to users, and then users' client machines send keystrokes and mouse movements back to the RDS server. Then you can also present users with a full desktop environment or with the individual application window and data that they are required for their job. Also, remote RDS applications integrate seamlessly with the user local desktop. They look, feel, and behave as if they are local application. Then the RDS enables secure remote access to the entire desktop, remote application or virtual machine without establishing a virtual private network or a VPN connection. And also you can centrally control which users can access RDS server as well as which RDS servers that users can access, and additional configurations such as device redirection settings. So those are a couple of the benefits of the RDS. Now that I kind of briefly describe you what's the proposal of the RDS, I'm just going to show you a little bit the infrastructure and all the server roles. So first of all, we have 6 server roles, which have new names in Windows Server 2008 R2, and which provide additional and improvement features. RDS in Windows Server 2008 R2 introduced a new role service known as RD Virtualization Host. You can use it in the VDI scenarios, with VDI with virtual desktop environment, to provide users with access to virtual desktop. So first of all, we have the RD Session Host. You require the RD Session Host server role to enable the RDS. The RD Session Host server runs on Windows-based programs and provides user with remote access to these programs or the full Windows desktop. Users can connect to an RD Session Host server by using RDP, and then can run programs, save files, and use network resources on that server. Then we have the RD licensing. To use the RDS, you must deploy an RD licensing server in your environment. When a client, either a user or a device, connects to an RD Session Host server, the RD Session Host server determines if the RDS Client Access License or CAL is required or necessary. You can use the RD license to install, issue, and track the available of RDS CALs. For small deployments, you can install the RD licensing and RD Session Host role on the same server. Then we have the RD Connection Broker, which role service provides load balancing and session reconnection services for RDS sessions. When users connect to an RDS environment and you deploy RD Connection Broker in the environment, RD Connection Broker can balance the client connections across the available RD Session hosts and can reconnect clients to the same session host if the client is disconnected. RD Connection Broker also connects user to the appropriate virtual machine in the VDI deployment. And then we have the RD Gateway, which is an optional role service in the RDS. RD Gateway enables remote users to access applications running on sessions host by tunneling the RDP traffic through the HTTPS. This means users outside the company network can securely access the RDS environment without establishing a VPN. And then we have the RD Web Access, which provides a user with an aggregate view of the remote application and desktop connections via a web browser or through the Start menu on Windows 7 computers. Using the RD Web Access, a user can view all remote applications and virtual desktops published to that user. And the last role is the RD Virtualization Host, which integrates within Microsoft Hyper-V role to host virtual machines and provide them to users as virtual desktops. You can assign a unique virtual desktop to each user in your organization or to provide them shared access to a full or virtual desktops. Okay, client experience with RDS. Basically, Windows Server 2008 R2 enhanced the remote desktop client experience for computers that are running Windows 7, Windows 2008 R2, or remote desktop connection 7.0 clients. This enhancement improved the experience of remote users by providing a look and feel similar to what users experience when they access the resource remotely. A couple of the enhancements are Windows Media Redirection. So this feature provides high-quality multimedia by redirecting Windows media files and streams so that servers can send audio and video content in its original format to the client and render the content by using the client's local media playback capabilities. Then we have the True Monitor support. Basically, this feature enables support for up to 16 monitors in any size, resolution, or layout. Then we have audio input and recording. This feature supports any microphone connected to a user local computer. It enables audio recording support and speech recognition for remote app and remote desktop. This may be useful for organizations that use voice chat or Windows speech recognition. Then we have the Aero Glass support. Basically, this feature provides users with the ability to use the Aero Glass for client desktops, ensuring that the remote desktop sessions look and feel like local desktop sessions. You must connect from a Windows 7 or Windows Server 2008 R2 client to take advantage of the Aero Glass feature. Enhanced bitmap redirection. This feature improves the remote display of three-dimensional and other media-rich applications such as Adobe Flash and Microsoft Silverlight on the server. Then we also have improved audio and video synchronization. The RDP improvements provide closer synchronization of audio and video. Then we have the language bar redirection. This feature provides users with the ability to control the language settings easily and seamlessly in remote app programs by using the language bar. And the last enhancement is the task scheduler. This feature ensures that a scheduled application never appear to user connecting with a remote app and reduce user confusion. Now let's quickly take a look to the remote desktop connection client. So basically, Windows client connect to RD session host by using the remote desktop connection client. RDC is included with the Windows operating system and uses the RDP to transfer user actions, mouse movements, keyboard inputs, and redirect devices to the RD session host and graphical display for the from RD session host to the RDC client. And here you can see on the screen the General tab. On this tab you can specify the RD session host server to which a user can connect and user credentials. You can save the RDC connection settings in a text file with an .rdp extension. Then we have the display where on this tab you can choose the size of the remote desktop window, including the options to run the remote desktop in a full screen mode. You can select to use all local monitors for the remote session, select color tab, and enable connection bar when the remote desktop is running in full mode. Then we have the local resources tab, where you can set remote audio settings, such as whatever you want to enable remote audio playback and recording. You also can specify the location where Windows shortcuts are applied and whatever local devices and resources in remote sessions are available. For example, you can enable the option to make clipboard, local drives, and printers and devices that you plug in later available in the remote session. Then we have the Program tab on...
Hi Adrian, it's Rick Shore. Is there any chance you could slow down a little bit? We're getting a little feedback that it's a little too quick.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Okay, so on the Program tab, you can specify the program that you will start when you connect to the remote computer. Then there is the Experience tab, where you can select the connection speed to optimize performance. You can enable different features such as desktop background, fonts, modding, or visual styles in RDC, and automatic reconnect if connection is dropped. And the last tab is the advanced one, where you can configure server authentication and connect from anywhere settings. For example, you can specify if you want to use the RD gateway and then configure its settings. So that was the overview of RDS and some of the features and enhancement. So now what we are going to do, I'm going to show you a quick couple of slides on how to publish remote app programs by using the RDS. Basically, the first question comes, what are the remote app programs? In previous versions of Windows Server, when you connect to terminal servers, you always access the full remote desktop. Full remote desktop looks similar to the local desktop, and you could easily be confused between the local and remote environments. In Windows Server 2008 and newer versions, users have the options to choose between a full remote desktop and an individual remote application window. The individual application window integrates with the client desktop, runs in its own resizable window, and has its own entry in the taskbar. If the remote application uses a notification area icon, the icon appears on the client notification area. RDS redirects the dialog boxes and other windows to the local desktop. You can redirect local drives and printers and can be made them available in the remote application. The applications that run on the RD session host server and appear as if they were running on the local computer are called remote app programs. There are several scenarios where remote app programs are especially useful. For remote users often need to access applications from remote locations, such as while working from home or while traveling. Remote app programs allow these users to access these applications over an internet connection. Using remote app programs with RD Gateway helps ensure secure remote access to the application. Additionally, you can choose to allow users to access remote application to a web page or integrate the application on the start menu of Windows 7 with RD Web Access. Then there is the line of business application deployment. Companies often need to run consistent line of business application on computers that are running different Microsoft Windows versions and configurations. Instead of deploying the LOB applications to all the computers in the company, you can install the application on our RD session host server and make them available as remote app programs. Then another one is for roaming users. In some companies, a user may work on several different computers. If users are working on a computer where the application is not installed, they can access the application through an RDS session. And then the last benefit is for the branch offices. In a branch office environment, there may be a limited local IT support and limited network bandwidth. By using remote app programs, you can centralize management of applications and improve the performance of remote applications in limited bandwidth scenarios. What is the process for publishing the remote app programs? Before you can access and run remote app programs, you must first configure the server to host them, make them available, and then allow RDP users connections to the server. Because you run remote app programs on an RD session host server, you must first add the RDS role server and then add the RD session host role service. After that, you need to install the application that will be available as remote app programs, such as, for example, Microsoft Office. When you add the RD session host role service, you enable remote desktop connections by default, even if they were not enabled before. If users or groups need to connect to the RD session host server to access remote desktop or run remote app programs, then you must add them to the remote desktop user groups or grant them privileges to allow log on through remote desktop services. After you prepare the RD session host server, you can use remote app manager to manage remote app programs. To make a remote app program available, you must add a program to the remote app program list. You can configure global deployment settings that apply to all remote app programs in the remote app program list. Windows uses these settings by default if you create an RDP file or Windows installer package from any of the listed remote app programs. These global deployment settings include the RD session host and server setting, RD gateway settings, common RDP settings, custom RDP settings, and digital signature settings. For distribution options for remote app program links, you can distribute links to remote app programs in different ways. One of the options is to use the RD Web Access, where you can control visibility of the remote app programs by using remote app user assignment. You can specify if a remote app program is available through the RD Web Access or not. Other distribution options include creating a copy of the RDP file that connects and starts a remote application, or creating and deploying a Windows installer package that installs a link to the remote app program. By using one of these two methods, you can specify additional settings such as the RD session host server or the RD farm to which a user should connect to run the remote app program, as well as the RD gateway that is used when users run the remote app program or over a public network. When you create a Windows installer package, you can specify if you want to associate file extension with the remote app program. You can use Remote App Manager on the RD session host server to create and configure the RDP file or a Windows installer package for a remote app program. To create an RDP or an MSI file in the local package program folder, and you can deploy them to the clients by using one of the following methods: copy the RDP or the MSI file using the GPO, so that's another option you can use, and configuring GPO preferences. And the last one, using a software distribution system such as Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager. And as you can see in here, you have a short print screen from a Remote App Manager, and as you can see on the screen, they are published the Microsoft Office package, and based on that one, you can then create the RDP or the MSI file. Functions of the RDP connection broker. The RD connection broker enhances the user experience when connecting to RD session hosts that are part of a load balanced farm. RD connection broker supports load balancing and reconnection to existing sessions on virtual desktops, remote desktop sessions, and remote app programs. RD connection broker also aggregates a list of available remote app programs and virtual desktop from multiple servers. RD Connection Broker keeps track of user sessions in a load-balanced RD session server farm. The RD Connection Broker database stores session information, including the name of the RD session host server, where each session resides, as well as a session state, session identifier, and the username associated with the session. RD Connection Broker uses this information to redirect a user who has an existing session to the RD session host server where the user's session resides. If a user disconnects from a session intentionally or because of a network failure, the application that the user is running will continue to run on the RD session host server. When the user reconnects, the remote desktop client queries the RD Connection Broker to determine whether the user has an existing session, and if so, on which RD host server. The RD Connection Broker load balancing feature enables you to distribute the sessions between servers in a load-balanced RDS server farm. When a server without an existing session connects to a RD session host server in the load-balanced RD session server farm, RD Connection Broker load balancing redirects the user to the RD session server with the fewest sessions. If a user with an existing session reconnects, RD Connection Broker load balancing redirects the user to the RD session existing session. Then, to participate in an RD session broker farm, the RD session host server must be a member of the following: Active Directory, Session Broker Computers Local Group on the RD Connection Broker server, and a load balanced RD session server farm. What is Remote Desktop Web Access? The RD Web Access is the RDS Role Service that provides a single place to list available remote app programs, remote desktops, and virtual desktops. You can access RD Web Access from a web browser. Then, on a Windows 7 client, you can integrate the list of available resources with the Start menu by using the Remote App and Desktop connections. When you install the RD Web Access, Web Server, or Microsoft IIS, also is installed as required component. A couple of benefits of using the RD Web Access include the authorized users can quickly access a list of available remote app programs, remote desktops, and virtual desktops from anywhere on the web page. You can modify the list of available resources easily without the need to distribute, install, and uninstall applications on the local computers. RD Web Access provides a simple out-of-the-box solution while providing an infrastructure that can be used for more complex scenarios. And users can launch the RDC Client from the RD Web Access website, which enables users to connect remotely to the desktops of any computers where they have remote desktop access. And then when a user starts a remote app program, the RDS session also starts on the RD session host server that hosts the remote app program. When a user connects to a virtual desktop, the RD session host server makes an RDC to a virtual machine that is running on an RD virtualization host server. Okay, and what is remote app user assignment? So I was talking about remote app user assignment. RDS introduced the remote user assignment feature in Windows Server 2008 R2, and it provides you with the ability to configure a personalized list of remote app programs. Before this feature became available, the same list of remote app programs and desktop connections was available for all users. With Remote App User Assignment, each user gets a personalized list which displays the user available remote app programs, desktop connections, and virtual desktops. You can implement the Remote App User Assignment feature by adding an access control list to the Remote App Program link. When a user logs on an RD Web Access, it obtains from the RD session host server the list of available remote app programs for the user or group or which the user is a member. If you configure the RD Web Access to obtain the list of the available remote app programs from one or more RD session host server, RD Web Access directly queries the servers. If you configure the RD Web Access to obtain the list of available remote app programs for the, from RD Connection Broker, the RD Connection Broker server queries the RD host servers and then filters the list of remote app programs. By default, when you publish remote app programs, all users can see the published remote app program. You can change the user assignment to the remote app program properties or by using Windows PowerShell. Here are some factors to consider when you are establishing a remote app assignment. You can assign the remote app programs only to domain users or domain groups, not local users or local groups. And then the computers that perform the check of users' credential against the remote app users assignment must be member of a domain's Windows Authorized Access Group or be joined to a domain that is running Windows 2000 compatibility mode. As you can see here on the screen, we have two users, John and Tom, and calculator it's available to John, but it's not available to Tom. So this is a way how, an example how you can limit or not who should have access to certain remote apps or not. I haven't mentioned it here, so you can see, for example, on the screen, the calculator. It's a default installed application. It's not something really fancy installed on the server. You can, of course, have a certain application, like a line of business application from your environment, and it will act the same like the calculator. Now that we've seen how you publish, accessing the remote, the last topic for today is accessing the remote app programs from clients. And basically in here, you have a print screen on how the web page looks like. So as you can see, we connect to an HTTPS page on our server, and then we are asked to put the username, which is domain and username, and then the password. Once we enter that one, then you can see in here all the published apps for that user. If we click on one of them, in this example, you can see in here, we clicked on the notepad. It's trying to connect to the NYC SRV1 server. And then it's asking us again, what's the username and the password. We will discuss a little bit later about avoiding this second screen. And here it is how it looks like, the application on the client side. And you can see down here, you can see on the screen also the word that it's on a remote. It's running as a remote app. What is basically remote app and desktop connection? In Windows Server 2008 R2, RDS provides the ability to group and personalize remote app programs as well as virtual desktops and make them available on the start menu of a computer that is running Windows 7. Remote app and desktop connection works with the new features of RD Web Access, the remote app, and desktop connections feed. Instead of presenting remote app programs in the form of a web page, this feed presents the program in form of an XML document, which is parsed and displayed on the start menu of the Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2 clients. The remote app and desktop connections features offer several benefits, which include remote app programs launched from the start menu just like a locally installed application. Published RDC and virtual desktops are included together with remote app programs on the start menu. Changes to the available resources, such as newly published remote app programs, update automatically. Users can access and launch remote app programs easily with Windows Search. Remote app and desktop connection does not require domain membership for client computers. And remote app and desktop connection is built on standard technology such as XML and HTTPS, which makes it possible for developers to build solutions around it. You can create a client configuration file or .wcx in the remote desktop connection manager console and distribute it to users. You can write and distribute a script to run the client configuration file automatically, so that remote app and desktop connections is set up automatically when the user logs on the Windows 7 computer. What is SSO? And I said a couple of slides ago that I will come back to this one. So basically the SSO is an authentication method that allows domain users to log on once using a password or a smart card, and then gain access to remote servers without having to enter their credentials again. If you use the same user account on your local computer and RD session host server, enabling SSO will allow you to connect to RD session host server seamlessly without having to type your password again. You typically use the SSO when you deploy line of business application or centralized application. Due to lower maintenance cost, many companies prefer to install their line of business application on a remote RD session host server and then make these applications available as remote app programs or through remote desktops. SSO makes it possible to give users a better experience by eliminating the needs for them to enter credentials every time they initiate a remote session. To implement the SSO functionality in RDS, you have to meet the following requirements. Users can use the SSO for remote connections only from a Windows SP3 or newer operating system to connect to a Windows Server 2008 terminal server or Windows Server 2008 R2 RDS session host. If the server to which you are connecting cannot be authenticated via Kerberos or SSL certificate, SSO will not work. If you have saved credentials for the target machine, they take precedence over the current credentials. If the terminal server is configured to always prompt or RDP file for setting always prompt, then SSO will not work. User accounts that are used for logging on have appropriate rights to log on both the RD session host and the Windows client. And the last the last functionality is that the client computers and RD session hosts must be joined to a domain. As you can see in here on the screen, I also have a small print screen of the GPO where you can select the credential delegations based on the for the single sign-on. What is device redirection? When you configure device redirection, you can use the redirected devices in a remote desktop session. You can redirect most devices, including printers, smart cards, serial ports, drivers, plug-and-play devices, media player based on the media transfer protocol. You can redirect digital cameras based on the picture transfer protocol. When the user connects to the RD session host server, the plug-and-play device that is redirected automatically installs on the remote RDS server, and plug-and-play notification appears in the notification area on the remote server of the remote computer. If you select the device that I plug in later checkbox in the RDC Client, which I showed you right at the beginning of this presentation, the plug-and-play device is installed on the remote computer when you connect the device in the local computer during the remote desktop session. After the RD host server installs the redirected plug-and-play device on the remote computer, the plug-and-play device is available for use in a session. For example, if a digital camera is redirected, you can access it from the scanner and camera wizard on the remote computer in the remote desktop session. Plug-and-play device redirection is not supported over cascaded RDC. This means that when you connect remotely to one RD session host server and then from within the session you connect to another RDS server, the second connection is cascaded. For example, you can redirect and then use a plug-and-play device attached to your local computer when you connect to a remote computer. However, if you connect to a second remote computer from the first one, you cannot redirect and use the plug-and-play device with the second computer. What is remote desktop easy print? The remote RD easy print feature enables you to print from a remote app program or from a remote desktop session to the local or network printers that you configure on a client computer without having to install printer drivers on the RD session host server. The RD Easy Print feature uses the print drivers installed locally on the client to print from an RD session, which results in a consistent printing experience between local and remote sessions. When you print from the RD session to a local printer, you can see the full printer properties dialog box from the client, and you can access all the printer functionality. RD Easy Print Universal Driver acts as a proxy and redirects all printing-related work to the client, even if the drivers are not available on the RD session host server. RD Easy Print renders the document to be printed in XPS format on the RD session host server and then transfers it to the local client where the local printer driver prints the document. Since you can create and print XPS documents on 86 and 64 platforms and are platform independent, there are no cross-platform compatibility issues when using the RD Easy Print. You can use the GPO to configure the RD printer redirection options, such as limiting the number of printers that are redirected to just the default printers or using the RD Easy Printer driver first. Okay. Accessing the remote app programs from an external network. RD Gateway is a role service in RDS Role that allows authorized remote users to connect to RD session host and remote desktop computers that you host behind firewalls on private networks and across net devices. More specifically, RD Gateway enables authorized remote users to connect to terminal servers, RD session host servers, and remote desktops on the corporate network from any internet-connected device that is running remote desktop version 6 or newer. RD Gateway tunnels all RDP traffic over HTTPS to provide a secure, encrypted connection. All traffic between the user client computers and the RD gateway is encrypted while it's transmitted over the Internet. Some of the features of the RD gateway provides a comprehensive security configuration model that enables you to control access to specific internal network resources, provides a secure, flexible RDP connection that allows user to access resources to which their RDP host has access, and prevents remote users' direct network connectivity to all internal network resources. Also enables remote users to connect to internal network resources that are hosted behind firewall on private networks and across net. Enables you to configure authorization policies to define conditions for remote users to connect to internal network resources by using the RD Gateway Manager. Enables you to configure the RD Gateway servers and remote desktop clients to use the Network Access Protection, or NAP, to enhance security, and provides tools to help you monitor the RD Gateway connection status, health, and events. By using the RD Gateway Manager, you can specify events such as unsuccessful connection attempts to the RD Gateway server and that you want to monitor for auditing purposes. You can see here on the screen we have a brief presentation. The RD Gateway is kind of sitting on the DMZ, and then we have the internal resources, and then we have the outside people, the internet, which they try to connect to the internal environment. And we have in here, although you can use the most RD connection properties by using the administrative tools of the RDC client, you might want to set them by using the GPO. Using the GPO typically is a simpler method for configuring the RDS, especially in an environment with multiple RDS servers. GPO provides many RDS-related settings in computer as well under the user configuration. They are available under administrative templates in Windows Components, part of the GPO settings. By using GPO policy, you can configure the couple of the following: the RD licensing and security settings, such as the client connection encryption level and prompt for password, remote session and environment settings, such as display resolution, color depth, font smoothing, or session time limit, RDC client settings, such as the trusted RDP publisher, and then RD client settings, such as redirection of devices, printer, and resources. Do not forget that some of the GPO settings, such as credential delegation, which is required for SSO, also apply for remote desktop sessions. So I think I'm done here with my presentation. I'm going to pass the mic back to Rick. Rick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Actually, Adrian, what I'd like to do is, if anybody has any questions, if you go to the chat section, you can put your questions in there, and I can pass those on to Adrian to see if he has a couple of minutes to maybe answer some things. So if you do have some questions, just go to the chat section and send us your chat. If we don't have time for it, I'm sure Adrian will be able to follow up with them later on and send some information back to you. As well as, if you go to traincanada.com, our website, under the event section, this whole presentation is recorded, and any questions would be recorded there as well. So you'd need to go to the event section. So we'll just wait a minute to see if anybody has any questions, and I'll check the chat. The other thing is just with regards to CTC Train Canada, as I say, we are a Microsoft Gold training partner, so anything that you've seen in this presentation that interests you, I'm sure we have a course that would cover that. So you can just go to traincanada.com and check out our list of IT certified courses. That's the IT certified course tab, as well as you can excuse me, just check the event section for another
Yes,
session.
Rick, so yeah, the course number is 10.324, and it's called Implementing and Managing Windows Desktop Virtualization.
Exactly. Okay. And again, there's a wide variety of other courses there as well. So I'm just going to check to see if there's any questions. Doesn't seem to be anything yet, but just give it another minute. Someone may be typing. Okay. The other thing too is if you have any needs or questions about this topic or any other topic, you can send an email to sales@traincanada.com. Again, that's sales@traincanada.com, and we can give you the information that you need to, again, further your education or get more information about webinars or just where to find information or to do prometric testing if you want to do your exams. Well, it doesn't look like there's any questions, Adrian. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very insightful. We appreciate it, and we'll see everybody next web seminar. Thanks very much.